Namashivaya.
Namashivaya, wonderful.
Thank you.
Namashivaya, ma'am.
Namashivaya.
Om Amriteshwari Namaha. Good morning, one and all. We are gathered here today for the ATL interaction among the three Amrita Vidyalayam schools, Amrita Vidyalayam Puthiyakavu, Amrita Vidyalayam Cochin, and Amrita Vidyalayam Thalassery. We would start with a prayer.
तेजोमयीं नैष्ठिकीं स्निग्धापाङ्गविलोकिनीं भगवतीं मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखीं वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणीं सुमधुर सङ्कीर्तनालापिनीं श्यामाङ्गीं मधुसिक्तसूक्तिम् अमृतानन्दात्मिकामीश्वरी.
Now I invite Brahmacharni Samaradhya Chaitanya, Principal of Amrita Vidyalayam Thalassery, to deliver the welcome address.
Okay.
Yeah.
Om Amriteshwari Namaha. A very good morning to one and all. Good morning, sir. In the last February, we shared the AIM platform in a panel discussion on why a school should participate in the ATL marathon. So, as the chief guest of today's program, we are fortunate enough to get Shri Ramanan Ramanathan, sir, the first mission director of AIM, ATL Innovation Mission, and a former additional secretary to Niti Aayog. As all of us know that AIM was set up in 2016 as Government of India's flagship initiative to promote a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship in the country. As the mission director of AIM, Ramanan sir has been instrumental in the launch and execution of several nationwide innovation and entrepreneurship initiatives that resulted in the establishment of 10,000 plus ATL tinkering labs in schools nationwide, with over 7,200 currently operational in more than 650 plus districts. 4 million plus students have access to innovate technologies like 3D printers, robotics, IoT, and do-it-yourself electronic kits. Under his guidance, one of the largest mentors of change networks was established with over 5,000 mentors nationwide to mentor schools, students, and startups. Sir, your dedicated and selfless service to our nation is truly inspiring. We are indeed overwhelmed by the immense reach that you and your team have achieved. So, on behalf of Amrita family, I extend you a warm welcome to this function. And we have today with us Srimati Gayatri Manikuti, ATL Mentor of Change and Assistant Professor in the MTech program in Robotics and Automation in Amrita Vidyalayam. She also leads a research team for Robotics for Education at Amity Labs Amrita Vidyalayam, which is dedicated to promoting innovative computing and STEM education and maker skills to school children. Gayatri Ma, hearty welcome to you to this function. And we have with us today a very dynamic and magical budding scientist, Akshay Nagaraj, who is an eternal mentor of change and has been pivotal in establishing and extending immense support to the ATL labs in Amrita Vidyalayam. At present, he is a PhD researcher at the University of San Diego, and he is the recipient of Stanford University Fablon Global Excellent Practitioners Award in 2018. He was also the co-founder of the second foundation makerspace of Amachi Labs at Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham. And I welcome Akshay Nagaraj to this function. Now we have the young innovators from our Aero Club and 8 years of all Amrita Vidyalayams, and I extend a warm welcome to all my little kids. And last, hearty welcome to all the teachers and parents to this session. Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you, Samaradhya ji. Now we will take a virtual tour of our Amrita Vidyalayams through a small video.
announcement of the top 20 ATL Tinkering Marathon 2019 winners who will have the opportunity to undergo student entrepreneurship program. The AV Innovators team from Amrita Vidyalayam in Kannur, Kerala. Let me start off with our first guest, Ms. Sheila. Ms. Sheila, your school has been very active in all the ATL competitions and the events that have been held. And the school has consistently been participating in the ATL marathon for the last 3 years, right from 2017. I want to congratulate and compliment you on that for making your students participate.
Helps you to achieve what seems impossible. Finding great mentors who believe in you is a real blessing.
Now we shall see a few glimpses of the Amrita Vidyalayam Puthiyakavu, where the pilot study of the Aero Club was happening in the last 2 years. And let's hear from our students' experiences.
How is the tensegrity holding?
Tensegrity's fine, and it doesn't look like the payload's broken. So, maybe let's take it out and be sure.
Still intact? Yeah. Not leaking?
All right.
I joined Aero Club in 2019, where we learned how to build and fly our own fixed-wing drones. For the national level Alil Tinkering Marathon 2021, conducted online, my friend and I made this fixed-wing aircraft. It is designed to fly using solar energy. This was a wonderful experience for both me and my friend.
I was fortunate to be the student of the first batch of the Aero Club. My fascination for space science, rockets and aeroplanes took a leap after the association with the club. I acquired the requisite skills and hands-on experience in assembling aerial drones and flying them. The most important and productive aspect was the project me and my classmates Sanjila and Madhumati did on tensegrity structures for the delivery of essentials during natural calamities employing drones. The project took us to Thailand, and the presentation of the concept was well received and appreciated at the Fabio Asia Symposium as well as other exhibitions. Now, let me take this opportunity to thank the club and its wonderful mentors Akshay sir, Ashish ji and Gayatri ma'am for instilling a sense of adventure and responsibility in me. Now, let me also register my special thanks to Principal Ma for letting me work in this wonderful lab. Best wishes to the new ventures of the club. Thank you.
Now, I request our chief guest, Ramanan Ramanathan sir, who has served as the first mission director of the ATL Innovation Mission, who has been instrumental in setting up ATL in our schools, not just our schools, more than 10,000 schools all across India, over 4 million students having access to innovative technologies. We are so happy and privileged that you are here with us today, sir. Over to you.
Good morning to everybody. Thank you so much for that generous introduction. And it is indeed a pleasure and privilege for me, not only to be able to see the amazing accomplishments of the Amrita students, Vidyalayam students from various schools, and accomplishing themselves not only in India, but on events and platforms in the international arena. First and foremost, before I continue, let me hope and wish that all of you are hale and hearty, following the necessary safeguards in these unprecedented COVID-19 times, which have been advocated by your university, by your institution, by the local government, and by the local health authorities. Indeed, we are living in unprecedented times. A simple virus has paralyzed nations across the world, created grievous disruption to supply chains across the world, created grievous disruption to lives and livelihoods. And for the young students in many schools, it has disrupted their standard way of learning and being able to attend schools and meet each other. However, at the same time, I think all of you do realize that we are living in unprecedented opportunities that are there in front of us because of the advent of technology, because of the advent of digital transformations that are happening all across the world. And as a result of which, you and I today are able to communicate with each other, connect with each other, inaugurate events like this, the inauguration of the Aero Club, which is very, very foresightful as well as very important for many of the young students to exercise their imagination and convert them into innovations. Like the ones we just saw of the solar drone. I want to congratulate not only the young students who have accomplished themselves and who have created such solutions, but also the teachers and the faculty. And that, because of their dedication, their passion, because of the guidance that you receive from Amritananda Mahima, all of these people are able to exercise their and express their creative ability, which is so very important in a young country like ours. First and foremost, I want to congratulate the organizers of this event for yet another very important inauguration and the inauguration of the Aero Club. As most of you are aware, just a week ago, history was created when we had the first space tourism vehicle shoot into space with Richard Branson and also one young Indian lady who accompanied him. And it must have been an exciting thing for them to be able to experience a few moments of weightlessness in space and be able to come back to the Earth within a period of 90 minutes. Now, what an experience it must have been. But it is very important to realize that this is a history-making moment, not only for all of us who were able to witness it or see it or read about it, but for the entire world. Just a few decades ago, two young brothers, the Wright brothers, attempted after many, many attempts to fly a craft in space and succeeded. That was a historic moment that connected the world in a jiffy. Today, you and I are able to travel to any part of the world at any time with the ease that nobody would have thought of. You know, I have been traveling to different parts of the country as a result of my involvement with ATL Innovation Mission. But what has struck me is we don't realize, all of us are living at a time when so many innovations and so many capabilities have gone before us. And we are experiencing the joys of that innovation, a quality of living that nobody would have experienced, let us say, 100 years ago. Just 100 years ago, people used to travel only on horseback or on bullock carts, or they used to walk and they used to trek to different places. And the maximum that one could see or experience was maybe 100 miles away from where you are. But today, because of the advent of technology, because of aerospace engineering, because of flights that are available, and because of space shuttles that are now making it possible for you to think about going to Mars and actually spending a few days there. You know, just next week, you're going to have Jeff Bezos again traveling into space. And you already have Elon Musk planning to have a space shuttle to Mars and be enabled to encourage life on Mars. Now, these are grand possibilities that one had never imagined. And I think every one of you should feel tremendously lucky, tremendously fortunate that you are living in an era where digital technology and technologies are exploding at a pace which is not only amazing to the human thought and human ingenuity, but which is giving every one of you an opportunity to become part of the innovation bandwagon. You see, technology has become affordable, accessible, available, and advanced. You are able to experience the world in different ways today than what we were able to experience several years ago. I remember back in 1983, and this is not very far ago, you know, I was deputed to New Zealand through Tata Consultancy Services. At that time, TCS was just a fledgling organization with less than 400 to 500 people. And during that visit, I also remember my parents and my family standing in a line in my neighbor's house to make a 3-minute telephone call to me, because that was the only telephone in that entire building. And calls were very expensive. And therefore, they all used to stand in a line, speak to me for about 30 seconds. And that's the maximum that we could afford for a call for a small middle class growing family. Today, every one of you are spending hours on the net, not only surfing the net, talking to your friends, having video chats, and those entrepreneurs and startups who have seen how to leverage the net are now exploiting it to its health. So my dear young students, you are at a point in time in history when it could not have been better. You are experiencing the joys of innovation. You are riding on the shoulder of giants who have been innovators, who have created this entire environment that you are experiencing today at your home, in your classroom, in the city, in the malls, in the theaters, in the playgrounds, and you name it. You don't realize how important this opportunity is, probably because you have been used to it right from the birth. You have been used to all of this from the day you were born. But remember, now you have not only the opportunity to experience all of these things, but you have the opportunity to create and innovate and ride upon the innovations and the inventions that have been created to date. That is an exciting opportunity, my young students. And that is why I'm so very excited with all of you becoming part of the ATL Aero Club. or the Aero Club that is being set up. You see, 3D printing, robotics, IoT, miniaturized electronics, augmented virtual reality. These are all sensor technologies. All these technologies have become affordable, accessible, available, and advanced. And therefore, you can use and unleash your imagination and your creativity in trying to understand how these technologies work and how do you put together solutions for problems you see in and around the community that you live in. It is not just the problems that you see, but you also the opportunities that you see to improve upon solutions that are there. You don't have to always be the first creator of a solution, but you can always be the innovator of an existing solution for it to become better. You see, young students, all of you are born innovators. All of us are born innovators. We have, right from the beginning of our birth, been able to innovate. That is how, as a small child, when you were not able to stand, you saw the world around you, you stood up, fell down, you stood up, fell down again. But every time you stood up, you innovated. Your inherent intelligence and your inherent DNA and your inherent human capability is one of innovation. Somewhere as we grow up, we think that innovation is in the realm of genius. We think innovation is not meant for me. It is meant for some very intelligent guy who is standing first in the class. But nothing can be further away from the truth. All of you young students who are out there, all of us teachers or faculty or any one of us who has even grown old, you have the ability to innovate. And you should exercise that creativity in you to innovate and to improve the world that you are living in. You have to leave a ding in the universe, as the great Steve Jobs said. Steve Jobs said, let us all leave a ding in the universe. And what does that mean? It means that you create, through your creativity and through your innovation, you create an impact that will resonate for times to come. That will create an impact for the future generations to be able to benefit from. What is life in this world if we just live for ourselves and we don't make an impact on the lives of others? A true fulfilling life, a true rewarding life is when you are able to, through your own contribution, through your own perseverance, through your imagination, and through your passion, being able to make an impact, a positive impact on the lives of people around you and for the benefit of the world. And therefore, my young students, we have set up adult tinkering labs. These adult tinkering labs are not just a toy place where you just play with something. Of course, you play with technology. Of course, you play with 3D printing, robotics, IoT, miniaturized electronics, and so on and so forth. But what is more important is it allows your imagination and your creativity to blossom and for you to start becoming problem solvers and innovators and potential job creators of the future. That is what you should aim for. You know, you are so lucky to study in institutions like Amrita institutions, and whatever I saw in the video, which is a fantastic video that you have created, all of that, you should consider it is a good fortune to be able to experience. Now, you have experienced that, but what are you going to do with that? You have to use all that knowledge that you have gained to become an entrepreneur of the future, a job creator of the future, an innovator of the future. Because you see, my dear young students, the COVID-19 has shown that there are still many, many challenges that the world has. And you are the architects of the future. You are the dreamers who can create the future that you want to see. Be the change that you want to see, said the great Mahatma Gandhi. So can you become the architects of the change that you want to see? It is not for somebody else to make that change. It is for you to be able to make the change, because you are the questioners. You are the curious people. You are the discoverers. You question everything around you, don't you? You know, the teachers sometimes get very tired with your questions. You know, why are you asking this question? Because sometimes the teacher doesn't have an answer for your question. Your question is so basic that they start thinking, why, you know, I'm not able to answer this question. And so they tell you, keep quiet. And or sometimes they say even kneel down and or stand outside the class because you have asked a question which is not easily available for an answer. Now, that curiosity, that questioning capability is what leads to new discoveries. It leads to a thirst for new knowledge. It leads to your imagination coming up with a potential solution for a problem that you see and that others have not been able to solve, or for an improvement that you see. For example, you created contactless doorbells in the COVID-19 crisis. That's an improvement over an existing doorbell. That's because you allowed your imagination to see how can I ensure a contactless surface, and so on and so forth. All the robotics or the space drones or the irrigation management using solar panels. These are all questions that you ask and you see, and you are able to apply your knowledge that you gain in creating that innovation. So sometimes many people ask, and many parents feel, and I'm very happy many parents are out here. Many parents feel, will all of this help my young student? I want him to focus on getting marks in the exam, go to a good university, get good marks again, go to a university abroad, get good marks again, and join a job in Google or IBM or TCS or Wipro and so on. But the parents should realize that there is today an opportunity for young students to become startup creators, to become entrepreneurs, to become innovators, and therefore they should encourage them. They should see this possibility in the young student, and not only the possibility, but the feasibility of making even innovation possible. It is feasible today because of technology and because of investments that are going on by schools. You have mentors. You have Akshay Nagarajan, who's going to be speaking to you, and he has got the benefit of great education abroad from very reputed universities, and he is sharing his views, his thoughts, his learnings, and his experience with all of you. You are very fortunate. So when you have all of that, you also have the ability to become an entrepreneur and an innovator, not just a job seeker. Can we in India create job creators, not just job seekers? And India, my dear friends, have many challenges. You must have seen, we are a very large country. We are 1.3 billion people. We have 1.4 million schools. We have 10,500 engineering and related institutions. We have 39,000 colleges. We have 150 million young students entering into the workplace like you. Now, what a powerful force it will be if all these 150 million young students get empowered with the knowledge of tools, technologies, with the knowledge of the latest innovations that are happening in the world, and when they become part of the innovator bandwagon. What transformation will be there for our country? Our country still has many challenges, my dear young students. We have still 22% of our country below the poverty line. Now, many of you, and I hope none of you have experienced poverty and will ever experience poverty in your life. But those people who are experiencing that, their lives are miserable, and we need to elevate them. We need to rise them up from where they are into a life that you are experiencing and you are living. That calls for tremendous transformation in our country. We still have 44% of our country agri-economy based. And they are all people, farmers, who don't know anything beyond farming. They don't even have knowledge of tools and technologies that can help them to increase the productivity of their farms, to be able to produce more farm products, or to be able to market directly to different corners of the world. And internet is possible. How do you, for example, start marketing products from Cochin to California? That is possible because of the digital reach, because of the digital transformation. Can you enable the young farmer, the uneducated farmer, to be able to leverage technology like IoT or sensor technologies and satellite and space technologies, so that they're able to get vital information for being able to improve their farms, their productivity, and be able to reach across to the rest of the world, from Shillong to Seattle, or from Jodhpur to Japan, or from Cochin to California? How do you ensure that? That is what every young student should enable. That is what you should aspire for. Dream big, said Abdul Kalam, and you will achieve great things. Dream small, and you will be limited by your own dreams. He came from a very small, humble town of Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram is much underdeveloped as compared to Cochin or compared to many other parts of Kerala. And yet, from this humble town of Rameshwaram, which is known for a few churches, for a few mosques, for many temples, and for thousands of fishing boats, that's what this town is known for. And from that town came a man who dreamt big. And he said in his book, Ignite, and I encourage every one of you to read that book. In that book, he says, if you dream small, you're limited by your own dreams. So dream big. And he dreamt about flying a plane, and he dreamt about missiles. And he became the missile scientist of India. And he became one of the finest human beings that has graced this planet. He rose on to become the president of this country. That's from a small, humble town of Rameshwaram. As from the small temple town of Kumbakonam came Ramanujam. What we want through the Atal Tinkering Labs and through all the initiatives that the Atal Innovation Mission has unleashed in the country is to rise up, rouse up thousands of Abdul Kalam, thousands of Ramanujam, thousands of Satyanarayana, thousands of Sundar Pichais, because when they get the exposure to technology and the innovation ecosystem, they flourish, they blossom into their full potential. That is why the ATL Tinkering Labs and the Aero clubs and all of this are being set up so that you can blossom to your full potential. You can become the future Satyanarayana's, the Sundar Pichais, the Arvind Krishnas who is heading IBM, or the Shantanu Narayan who is heading Adobe. These are people who have come from very humble backgrounds, but when they had the exposure to the ecosystem that United States affords or other countries afford, they have been able to blossom to their full potential. I am very happy that the Amrita set of institutions, or the Amrita institutions, are setting up that ecosystem for every one of you to blossom in. And I am sure every one of you will achieve success. Remember that this is just the beginning of your innovation journey. Whatever you learn in these tinkering labs, you have to apply as you go into the universities, whether you go to a university in India or whether you go to a university abroad. But remember, at the end of the day, we need to also give back to society more than what we have received. And you owe it to India and countries like India and emerging economies like India to be able to make an impact, to be able to ensure that the 650,000 villages that are there in our country, the 8,000 small towns and cities, the 1.4 billion people who grace this part of the planet, and the people who are in these aspirational districts. We have 715 aspirational districts, out of which 115 are 715 districts, out of which 115 are called aspirational districts. And these are in the bottom of the pyramid in terms of basic access to healthcare, education, clean drinking water, sanitation, waste management, affordable housing, livelihoods, and quality of their lives. You are fortunate to not be in those 115 districts. So what is it that you and I can do together to be able to raise all of this and eliminate 1 in 5 infant mortality, or 1 in 4 infant stunting, or 1 in 5 maternal mortality? We all owe it to them. And we should leverage the power of digital technologies and emerging technologies to be able to create innovations that can not only bring economy to the country, but can also bring tremendous benefit to society. The wellness, the well-being, and the welfare of society should be as important as the money that you make in life and the economy that you contribute to. I'm sure every one of you will become a great innovator. And I'm sure that each of you will leave a ding in the universe through your efforts, through your contributions, through your imagination, and through your innovations. All the very best. But before I end, I would like to share the great Swami Vivekananda's words with you, which I always do in many of my talks. He said, if you have belief in 1,000 gods and goddesses, but do not have belief in yourself, you're doomed. So have that extraordinary belief in yourself, the belief that I can do things and then I can achieve. Yes, we can, said Obama, and he did. He rose on to become the first Black president of the United States of America. Yes, we can should be your frame and should be your slogan, and you will become the innovator of the future. And he said, the great Swami Vivekananda said, arise, awake, and stop not till your goals are reached. So can you all arise to the challenges, but more importantly, the opportunities that are there in front of you, leveraging technology, leveraging your imagination, and leveraging your innovative capabilities? Can you awaken in you the passion and the talent and the innovation that is latent within you? It is not something to be acquired from outside. It is there within you. So awaken it. And can you stop not till the Atmanirbhar Bharat goal of India is reached? A strong India, a resilient India, an India that contributes not only to itself, but to the rest of the world. As the great saying, the Vedas say, we are Vasudeva Kutumbakam. We are citizens of the world. How do we make an impact for the rest of the world? I'm sure every one of you will. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share a few thoughts on this occasion. And all the very best to the Aero Club, all the ATLs, all the schools of the Amrita institution, and all the ATL students who are engaging themselves actively in innovating and creating an impact. Thank you.
Oh, can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. So I would like to thank you once again for your inspiring speech of Arise, Awake, and Stop Not until the goal is achieved. And I hope we can inspire our students to create more digital innovative technologies and so that they can serve our society. Thank you, sir, so much for your inspiring speech. Thank you so much for being with us today. Now let me invite Akshay Nagarajan, the ATL Mentor of Change, who has been pivotal in establishing and extending immense support to the ATL labs in Amrita Vidyalayam. Actually, ATL Aero Clubs is his brainchild. So let us now hear from him. And I hope he's going to do a moderation session with the kids. Over to you, Akshay.
Yes, thank you. I could not unmute myself. Thank you so much, Sony, for that introduction. And I'm so glad that we got to hear Ramanan sir speak. You know, it was such an inspiring talk. And I'm so glad it's being recorded. So I urge all of you, my dear young friends, please go back and watch it again. And I'm telling you, it needs to sink in deeply because a lot of things he said are the things that I have heard also personally coming from Amma, the founder of our institutions. And it's something that I have also held really close to my heart. And these are the lessons I have learned over time. And I think it's valuable, it's gold. So please make sure you go back and you watch the recording and you listen to that talk again. And I'm sure you'll have a lot more to learn every time you listen to that talk. So quick correction there with what Sony said. The Aero Club was not my brainchild. The Aero Club was actually Amma's brainchild, and I should tell you how it came. So we were doing work with robotics, and we were so Gayatri ma'am and me and Ashish and all of us were working, teaching maker education, robotics, computational thinking in the ATL Tinkering Labs in AV Thalassery and AV Puthiyakavu. And while these workshops were going on, one of the things that happened in Kerala was we had a tremendous flood, if you remember, which really shook the whole core of the state. A lot of people got displaced. A lot of people suffered losses during the time. So one of the things that Amma had been talking to us prior to that was looking at technologies that could be helped, could be used for delivery, which could be used for response during disasters. And then post Kerala floods, this was the thing that came back. So Amma had this conversation with us where she said, you should start developing at the university, you should start developing technologies which are indigenous, which are developed in-house in India, so that we can actually start targeting solutions for delivering materials, delivering medicines when people are stranded or people need help. Because a lot of people were suffering because of they could not get insulin on time or medicine on time when they were stranded in their houses. More than food or electricity, that was the first emergency need. And that was something which we could not scale up rapidly because the army was trying to evacuate people. You don't have time to drop medicines when that is happening. And you don't even know who to drop it to. To have an efficient solution for that. That is how it started. And then Ashish and I, we had this discussion with Amma where we asked, how do we go proceed? And she said, proceed with the young children. Go teach them how to start building things and along with them develop these technologies. So my understanding of what Amma was trying to say was that there needs to be foresight that these technologies are not going to hit the market tomorrow or day after tomorrow. It may not materialize in a year's time, but the skills that you can invest today in the children, in all of you, in my young dear friends who are attending this meeting, who are going to be part of the Aero Club. We are investing these ideas, we are investing these skills in you so that you can be the person who delivers these technologies to the world, to India. And one thing I would like to echo what Ramanan sir was saying, he was talking about how this is the perfect time that you're in. This is the best time. He spoke about the joy of innovation and the fact that we're in the best time of the world where you have so much of opportunity to contribute. So I am also 26 years ago, I was also an Amrita Vidyalayam student. I was among the first batch of the first Amrita Vidyalayam schools. In fact, Sheila, who's here today, was my principal even then. And I remember that although we were budding with ideas, we didn't have a lot of opportunities back then. We had opportunities of a different nature. There was not so much technology in the schools at the time. So with the tinkering labs, with the ATL innovation missions, all these programs, the tinkering marathon and all the things that Amrita TBI has been doing with the schools, with all of these things, you have received tremendous opportunities. So make sure you really capitalize on it. This is the golden age, the golden time for education where you can really capitalize on all these things. And this is what the Aero Club is also focusing on. The Aero Club's main focus. So let me just give you a quick background on what we have done before with Amrita Vidyalayam Puthiyakavu. So in Amrita Vidyalayam Puthiyakavu, we started with first introducing how a plane should be built, what are the different types of flight systems. Ashish did quite a lot of sessions on hands-on teaching students to build drones, to build fixed wing planes, different types of talking of what are the different types of systems we have there, what are the different systems within a plane, and how do you put those things together. And then after that, we had conversations on where would you apply it? In what kind of scenarios would you want to apply? And we'll be following the same format when we go forward with the Aero Clubs in Amrita Vidyalayam Kochi as well as Amrita Vidyalayam Thalassery. The idea is we will have focus groups among you who you can choose which SDG or which particular domain of what kind of application with drones you want to target, and based on that you will be learning to design and develop drones and develop planes or fixed wing aircrafts which can be used for those solutions, to target those solutions. And that is very important because unless we ground ourselves in the application of why we are building technology, that connect is lost. I think Ramanan sir also spoke about it, but I also want to echo what Amma says about it. She talks about the language of the head and the language of the heart. And this is something both we try to impart in the Amrita Vidyalayam. This is something I received even back 26 years ago when I was studying in Amrita Vidyalayam. And I think that is very, very important. The language of the head is the logic, the knowledge, the innovation, the creativity that you can create. The language of the heart is empathy, compassion, connecting down to the people who really need those technologies. And more than anything else, our country, our nation requires these technologies to alleviate all these problems that we have today. So I have seen, I'm now in the US, here in California, I see so many people saying America first. In India, we need to say the same thing, our nation. What can I do for my nation? We often are stuck with thinking, what can I do for myself? Where can I find the best jobs? Where can I find the best opportunities? Yes, you should do all of that, but it should be nested with that idea of what can I do for my nation. And that is very, very important because every other community, every other part of civilization, they're focused on their countries. If we do not focus on India, who else will? And not to mention, sir also mentioned that he said, we are a civilization. Indians are a civilization where we believe in Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which means that the whole world is one family. What that means is anything that we create in India, anything that we do here, it is in our own philosophy to spread it to the world. It is in our own benefit. If India benefits, India will share its benefits with the rest of the world. And that is how we are. So we need to start innovating here. The Aero Club is something that we bring with a lot of passion into the schools with the hope that you would be equally passionate in taking that on, creating solutions for your country, creating solutions for your local communities, trying to see how you can solve local problems and how you can scale that. So I dearly hope that all of you would enjoy these experiences that you get with the Aero Club. I already know that the Amrita Vidyalayam Puthiyakavu students love the Aero Club and they've really enjoyed those opportunities they've had. We have had some very dynamic people who also come and give talks. You will also benefit from that. We have Marco Sangrorio, who's got over 20 years of experience working with the top commercial airliners like Lufthansa and KLM and all of that. And he talks about all the different systems of a plane, going down to the detailed schematics of what a plane looks like, what each system of a plane looks like. By the end of the Aero Club experience, you would have enough knowledge to go out there, become aeronautical engineers, to become the top people in the field innovating and creating these solutions. So I wish you all the very best. And I dearly hope you enjoy your experience in the Aero Club. So I don't want to take too much more time, but I definitely hope, Ramanan sir, if you would not mind, we would like, there were questions that students had, and we have asked them to questions that started pouring in, and we can have an interactive session now with you. I already have some students who have sent me questions, so maybe I will start with that. But in the meantime, if others, you would like to ask some questions, please start formulating your questions in your mind, and you can unmute and ask the question shortly, or you can do a hand raise. I don't know if you know how to do the hand raise. There is an option in participants, if you click on that, to do a hand raise at that time. So we'll come to you shortly. Okay. So in the meantime, sir, are you available for a quick interactive session for a few minutes? Ramanan sir, are you still with us? I don't see him on the screen. Is he here?
He's there. Sir,
okay.
Ramanan sir?
Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So I lost you there for a bit. All right.
No, I put on mute. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, would you have a few minutes for a quick interactive session, sir?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So I'll just I'll suggest some students that sent in some questions. I'll prefer that if you can unmute and ask those questions, that is best. Please also turn on your video so sir can see who's asking the question. If you're having network troubles, I will ask your question for you. All right. So we can start with Ram Shankar from Amrita Vidyalayam, Kochi. Ram, are you there? Yes. Please, whoever is hosting, please help unmute, because I think you've prevented unmute for some students. Yes.
Yes, he's unmuted.
Yes. Namaskar, sir. I am Ram Shankar from Amrita Vidyalayam, Kochi. As school children are driven to the innovation and entrepreneurship, what is the vision of from us as students in future that these workshops and training are given to us now?
Ram Shankar, the question you're asking is, what is the reason we are giving all this training now? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, yes, sir. I am like, it is helpful for now from the students as well, or after future in the after colleges and all. It is helpful, like.
Yeah. So the idea, Ram Shankar, is a very good question. Why are we learning about all of this, right? Now, there are 3 or 4 very important reasons. Number one, we have been used to a culture traditionally that we learn to get some knowledge, get some degree, get some marks, get into good universities, go university abroad and get a good job. And that has been the purpose of education, more or less, or the accepted purpose of education. And parents are very keen because they believe that an education is a passport to a good job. And that is absolutely right. There is nothing wrong with that. But you see, one of the problems with that approach, which has served us well till today, is that tomorrow you will need people who can make a difference with the knowledge that they have. It is not enough to have the knowledge. How do you apply that knowledge to create real solutions to problems that you see in and around the communities that you live in? Even if you go to a job, even if you get a job, the expectation of the employer is, how can you innovate to make this company go better, do better, come up with new products, new services. And that calls for a problem-solving, innovative thinking approach. So first and foremost, we want to cultivate beyond this rote learning that we all do. We want to cultivate this problem-solving, innovative approach. The second is, technology is changing rapidly. So our schools are not able to keep pace with the changes in technology that is happening in the world. And all the solutions that you see in the world are as a result of these technologies which are being applied. So it's important to induct these technologies and knowledge of these technologies to you, because also it has become affordable and accessible. You know, if it was when I was studying, it was impossible for a school to think I'll have a computer or a communication network or a Wi-Fi network or a smart laptop or a smartphone. You know, they were all beyond our reach. It was costly. Even if I wanted it, I could not get it. But today you have it available. It is affordable. So we have to empower you with the knowledge of these tools and technologies so that you can become innovators. The third is, you need to ensure that in the future, you know, what you're going to see, already life has advanced quite a bit as you are experiencing. So now the next frontiers like space technology, or the next frontier of agriculture, which is precision agriculture, or water management, which is based on sensor technologies, and you're able to distribute water very precisely. You don't need to, for example, olden days, the water management in the field was dependent on the rains, or you just allow water to go, but you didn't have the knowledge that this particular crop needs only this amount of water. You don't need more water. If you put more water to that crop, actually it dies and it creates a problem for the farmer. But now you have technology which can intervene and which can suggest and which can give you ideas. And then you are having communication technologies with which you can share your practice with others, or you can come to know how others are doing. So all of this knowledge is very important in the years ahead. It is not enough for you to know how to become a farmer. It is important for you to innovate as a farmer, innovate as an agriculturist, innovate as an aerospace engineer. So that is why all of these things that you are doing and learning now will become the seed with which you will become the architect of the future. And that's the whole purpose. It is not that I will get better marks. You will get better marks anyway. Why? Because you are starting to apply the theory that you are learning to the practical solutions on applying that. So actually learning will become more interesting. See, it is very boring in a class when somebody is teaching you physics, or teaching you the Fourier transform, or teaching you calculus. What is the application of all of this calculus and Fourier transform and everything? But now when you start seeing that you are innovating, the parabolic arc, and you study the parabola, and then you see, when I because of gravity, or when I thrust a missile, this is the curvature, this is the angle, this is the way that I'll have to direct this drone or the space shuttle. There is so much of physics which goes in that space shuttle. You make one small mistake and it's gone. It will go out of course, out of the orbit, it will plunge to the earth, and all the people will die. So you have to have that knowledge. But that knowledge, now you start applying to your innovation, it becomes so much more interesting and so much more useful. I hope I answered your question. Yeah. Are they on mute or?
No, I got muted and I could not unmute myself. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ramashankar.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramashankar. I think the next person who had a question was Madhumati. Sorry.
Rishaya, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir, for coming to this event. I had a question. My teammates and I had worked on a project to create biodegradable tensegrity cages, which are structures that help to protect an airdrop payload. This project involved creating different structures and testing their ability to absorb shock upon impact. Under the guidance of our mentors, we have successfully written a research paper about the project and even presented it in a conference held in Thailand. It was a wonderful opportunity to meet students from other countries and to experience and be in a different culture. Sir, my question is, will ATL provide us with more such opportunities to participate in events that allow us to learn about international cultures globally, which are different than the ones that immediately surround us?
Yes, indeed. First of all, let me compliment you on that wonderful area that you have been working on and with your team. I think these are very important research areas and innovation areas that are much needed, and these are going to become tremendously useful in the future. So all the very best to you and your students and your team and your mentor. Yes, the ATL Innovation Mission has actually, one of the purposes of launching it was not just to set up the tinkering labs, but to create a network where people will communicate with each other and be able to learn from each other. And this network includes not only the schools that we have connected, but also multinational companies, companies like Intel or Microsoft or Tata Group or Cummins and so on and so forth, who launch different challenges for the young students to participate in, to be able to exercise their innovation. And they also recognize them. They have recognition platforms. For example, recently Dassault Systems, who are one of the leaders in aerospace technology and 3D technology and CAD/CAM technology, they launched a series of challenges for Atal Tinkering Labs, and we have formed a special partnership with them. And in that partnership this year, they are going to launch many more challenges, and they will be allowing young students to come to their labs and be able to learn more about areas such as in agriculture or in space or in aerospace and so on. So the whole attempt is to connect into a global network of partners. We recently launched challenges along with the government of Sweden in healthcare and in electric mobility. Now, of course, those challenges were more for startups and entrepreneurs, but Nobel Sweden, the Nobel Committee in Sweden, they have periodically come and visited our Atal Tinkering Labs. And I'm sure they'll be coming now after the COVID-19 crisis is over again. And the Nobel laureates, they interact with the students so that they give them the benefit of their knowledge, their research, and so on. There are some videos already available on the Atal Tinkering Lab AIM website of interactions with some of these Nobel laureates. So please go through them and find them. If not, send me a mail and I will connect you to the appropriate people within AIM, Dipali and Ronak, and they will pass on those links to you.
Thank you, Madhu. I think Vizak, you had a question. Is Vizak here with us?
Namaskar, sir. Am I audible?
Hi.
Yes.
Yeah, Vizak.
Namaskar, sir. My name is Vizak. And my question is, currently the activities of the Aero Club is confined to a school. How can we move ahead with these projects? And is there an opportunity AIM can create for us to collaborate with higher organizations?
Yeah, in fact, Atal Innovation Mission has already collaborated with ISRO. ISRO is the organization in India who are in space technology and so on. And so ISRO has actually planned to adopt 150 or 200 Atal Tinkering Labs across the country. And not only that, they have also agreed to make available their labs. They have space labs in different parts of the country. I'm sure they have one in Kerala. And if you approach them and you share Atal Tinkering Lab with those people, they will be able to direct you to those labs, and so that you have an extension of your own lab into what ISRO is doing in space. And ISRO is one of the leaders in the world, the pioneers in the world for affordable space satellite launch vehicles and so on. So that is one. And then, like I said, there are other partners like Dassault and so on who are also very interested in mentoring and making available their facilities and provide entrepreneurship opportunities. So I think if you closely follow, and I would advise the mentors of change as well as the principals to closely follow the various partnerships that Atal Innovation Mission has enabled for Atal Tinkering Labs, for schools and so on. The other thing that I want to very strongly recommend is that every Atal Tinkering Lab who have a tinkering lab, they should share their resources with 10 schools around their region. They should make available the lab, because not everyone has a lab and not everybody is also able to find the space for an Atal Tinkering Lab. So I think if you are able to have a structured process, a scheduled time for students from other schools, neighboring schools, maybe 5 to 10 neighboring schools, for their students to come and use your lab. Because after all, it's a government sponsored lab with all the technology as well as the funding being given. That would be a great way. I mean, today we have 10,000 tinkering labs. Imagine if each school adopted 10 schools around it for the Atal Tinkering Lab. You'll have 100,000 Atal Tinkering schools having access to Atal Tinkering Labs just in the course of a year. And I would very strongly encourage, I know Amrita institutions can be a leader in this and set the example for the others to follow.
Okay, I think that's a wonderful suggestion, sir. Both reaching out to ISRO as well as trying to connect with other schools. I think EB Thalassery did some event in between when they invited other school students to come and participate in the marathon, I believe.
Yes, correct.
Yes, yeah.
But you should have, my feeling is, depending on your, you should be able to find the time, and through the voluntary mentoring network that has been created. So it's not that only the teacher's time is go. If you have mentors associated with schools, and if you adopt 5 to 10 schools around you and allow those students to come and tinker and play, you're just enhancing. And then who knows, they may also apply for the next Atal Tinkering Lab, and it'll
Absolutely. In fact, I think the Aero Club students can take a lead on this. Maybe you can start doing Aero Club workshops for other schools in your community.
Correct.
That would be the way to go.
You see, and the Aero Club should be a community Aero Club. It should not be a school related Aero Club. It should be a community tinkering lab. Whichever schools can enable that.
Yes, sir. I think the next question was from Arunima.
Yes, sir. So am I audible?
Yeah, yes, Arunima.
I'm sure, sir. Myself, Arunima, came from Amrita Vidyalayam, Thalassery. My question is that we have learned about the UN SDGs from ATL marathon that held in our school. So what SDGs are most important to our country, and as students, what should we focus on to innovate new ideas?
So I'm very happy you asked that question. You see, the awareness of all the 17 SDGs, there are 17 SDGs, and the awareness of all the 17 SDGs is very important for every student. And I am very happy that almost all the schools are also teaching about the UN SDGs. And I think there should be a class on UN SDGs in every Atal Tinkering Lab for the students, so that they know what the 17 SDGs are. Now, all the 17 SDGs, there are 17, and there are they are relevant to not only India but to the rest of the world. It is very important for you to ensure that any innovation of yours is aligned to one or more SDGs. It doesn't matter which SDG it is aligned to. You have SDGs related to poverty elimination, skill development. You have SDG related to water management and clean drinking water and sanitation. You have SDGs related to circular economy. How do you use circular economy? How do you avoid the growth of plastics and inorganic, non-destructible products? All of these are very relevant. So I would not say that any particular SDG, only a few SDGs are relevant to India. In fact, to a country like India, which is such a large country with so many demands and so many requirements, I would say all the 17 SDGs are very important. However, some which are very important are, of course, elimination of poverty, which is important. Our agri economy, how do you ensure that we use the right fertilizers, grow more organic products, and all of that stuff. Healthcare is very important for India. Elimination of infant mortality or infant stunting, nourishment, food and nourishment, they are very important. The hygiene part, waste management is very important in India, because India will generate a lot of waste because of its people and its population and its growth. Cities are growing rapidly, people will acquire more and more cars. So you are going to include, cars are going to have emission problems unless you have emission control and all of that. So I would say some of these areas are indeed very important. Livelihoods, jobs are very important. Skill development is very important. Unless people have jobs, they will not rise out of poverty. Unless they have education, they won't have the capability of getting jobs. And unless you have infrastructure which is enabling all this education and all of that, you will not be able to provide the right schools, the right teachers, the right ecosystem for studies. So there are many, many requirements. All you have to do, I don't think you have to complicate yourself into thinking I should focus on a few SDGs. Look at any innovation that you do and map it to which SDG it solves. And when you do that, it is also important when you innovate, are you solving a problem or are you creating a new problem? Take for example, if you come up with a new design of a car. Now, is a car going to be creating more emission problems, or is it going to be creating less? That's why electric mobility and electric vehicles are becoming very popular, because not only is it providing new ways of transportation, but it is lessening the impact on the environment.
Thank you, sir. I think I've got two more questions here. One from Sharanya. Do you want to go next?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, Sharanya.
Namshvaya, sir. This is Sharanya S. from Amrita Vidyalayam, Kochi. So my question is, what is the future of robotics in our country, and in what fields will robotics have an important role to play in India?
Very good, very good. See, robotics is going to play a very important role. It will automate many of the mundane activities that we are doing, right? Take, for example, you are for the farmer, a robot can go up and down a field and water the farm precisely based upon sensor technologies that can integrate it onto it and so on and so forth, and be able to do the job. Or a drone-based robot. A robot is, after all, a mechanical device with electronics integrated into it, surveillance technology integrated into it, and a software and a program which enables you to do repetitive actions remarkably fast, right? On the shop floor of a manufacturing plant, a robot will be very useful. We want to ensure that we want to build India as a manufacturing hub of the world, not just China, because manufacturing can create a lot of jobs. But unless you have robots which are automating many of the routine actions and is able to create great efficiency in the manufacturing process, you will not be able to succeed in the global environment. It's a very competitive environment. You need to be able to reduce costs. So you need robotic technologies to be able to help that. Robotic technology can be very useful in hospitals, for example. Now during COVID-19, quite a few innovative companies had robots which were going and administering the standard pills and the standard medication that somebody needs. You can program the robot to say this patient in room number so and so should be given these medicines at these points in time, and the robot would actually move to that particular place and be able to give those medicines in the right amount of dose and so on. So, after all, a robot is a combination of mechanical, electrical, electronic, software programming, and sensor technologies, all of that coming together. So I think it's a great area for research, innovation, for application in multiple areas and in multiple fields. There is a robotic-based waste management innovation that was done by some of the students in Sikkim, where they had a robot which would automatically recognize organic and inorganic waste. Very often we have all the waste dumped in one place, and whether it is organic waste and inorganic waste, and we don't separate it. The robot would go there, it would be able to identify what is organic and inorganic, and then put it in separate bins and then cart them to whatever places for further processing. Now, many times you don't want human beings to go to, in the mines, for example. In mining, there is a lot of danger when you go to the mines and the mines suddenly collapse and so on. So today you have robotic devices which can actually go in the mining process and it saves people from catastrophe and disasters and so on. So there are many, many areas. I think it's a very exciting field. So all of you should get involved in that.
Yes, sir.
I think in the interest of time, we'll take one more question. Vrinda, you're the last on my list. Do you want to ask your question? Vrinda from Amrita Vidyalayam, Thalassery.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, Vrinda.
Sir, I'm Vrinda from Amrita Vidyalayam, Thalassery. So we have participated in ATL marathon and we're selected among the top 20 teams. So my question is, what supports can we expect from AIM for the further development of our projects?
So the Atal Tinkering Marathon first launches challenges for you to respond to and create innovations on, right? But once you have done that, then our whole idea is that this is just the first step of an evolutionary step of perfecting your innovation and creating a product. And therefore, the mentors, one is the mentors of change can help you. If you're a winner in the Atal Tinkering Marathon, and Amrita institution schools have done extraordinarily well. So if you're a winner, then automatically you also get selected for student entrepreneur programs and student innovator programs. And these student innovator programs and entrepreneur programs are run along with our incubators, Atal incubators. You have Amrita Atal incubator, which has been sponsoring many students from the Atal Tinkering Marathon, where they learn what it means to go from a prototype innovation. That's what you create. In an Atal Tinkering Marathon, you create a prototype. But how do you go from prototype to product? And how do you go from product to a commercially deployable or a market-ready product? And how do you also learn how to build awareness of your product and get the business acumen? Because it is not enough if you make a product which is not acceptable in the marketplace, either because of its functionality, features, or because of its pricing point, or because of its ease of use. When you don't have all of those features built in, then the product will not succeed in the market. And so you need to have knowledge about all of that. This is what the Student Entrepreneur Program and the Student Innovation Program help you to think through. And so that it positions you to become an innovator and an entrepreneur and a startup creator of the future.
Thank you so much, sir. I think it's such an exciting session. I'm already bursting with so many new ideas as the questions were coming in and you were giving responses. Thank you so much for taking the time to have this interaction with the students.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to spend a few moments with all of you. I'm really very excited with what is happening there. I hope I'll be able to come and travel to your schools and see your schools at some point in time and participate in some events which are where I can see your innovations and have the benefit of that knowledge. And all the very best. And thank you so much for giving me a chance to participate today. Akshay and Snehal and everybody else, and the principal of Thalassery and so on.
Next, I invite Mentor of Change, Gayatri.
Respected Ramanan sir, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today and to share so many wonderful ideas and thoughts with us. It's really energizing and enthusing us to continue to work towards this and do more and more to drive our children to excellence. And I think if as I have heard, if the schools are providing the first foundation through the education in maths and science, I think programs like what Atal Innovation Mission is doing is really taking it to the second level. The importance of 21st century skills, to learn it, to apply it, and to see what the benefits are, it is invaluable. Before we conclude this session today, sir, it'll be wonderful if we can have a photo with you, just a quick virtual photo, because it is a wonderful event for us, something we would like to remember. So I would request all the children, everybody who is online today, all the teachers, all the Atal teachers, and the principals, if you could turn on your camera for 2 minutes, we'll just have a quick picture with Ramanan sir. Just give us a second. I think everybody is coming online. Wonderful. Thank you, children. Thank you again. That was really memorable, and it'll stay with us for many years to come. These words of inspiration that we had with you today. I know that you have to go, you have to travel today, and despite that, you have taken time to be with us. We are very indebted. I would like to thank Dr. Snehal Shetty, from Amrita TBI, who made this interaction happen, who made this session happen. I would like to thank Akshay Nagarajan, Mentor of Change, for facilitating this entire session, for coming up with this idea. I would like to thank our principals from Amrita Vidyalayam Cochin, Amrita Vidyalayam Thalassery, and Amrita Vidyalayam Puthiyakavu for giving an opportunity for mentors like me to be part of the adult tinkering labs, to be able to work with the children. And any event, no matter what it is, any ATL event, it is not possible without the dedication and the hard work of the silent people who make this whole thing happen, which are the teachers, the ATL teachers of change who are with us here today in this call, who made the whole event happen. So we are very grateful to all the teachers for your hard work and effort. And my deepest and sincerest appreciation to the parents and the children themselves. You are the reason we are here. You are the reason this whole ATL is there. We hope that you could have drawn inspiration from the words that Ramanan sir has shared with us today, and we'll continue to push for excellence, continue to come up with more and more innovations, and continue to make our country proud. Thank you once again, one and all. With this, we'll conclude the session. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, please send me a copy of the photograph for my own memories and a link to this event.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All the best. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ramanan sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Akshay. Thank you, Akshay.
Sir, we're going to take that offer of yours to invite you to the schools. So please don't forget.
Yes. I'd love that. I would love that. Yeah. Thank you.
Have a safe flight. Bye-bye.
Thank you.